This video is sponsored by Alcid E-Homes, whose mission it is to accelerate the advent of sustainable, healthy living systems around the world. Hi, and welcome to Best in Tesla. I just wanted to make a little short video about plug-in hybrids because I really don't understand why people are buying these cars, and hopefully the EU will soon not count them as low-emission vehicles, because they're not. So they're not that attractive for the old automakers to waste batteries on. So I would like to compare the hybrids to some of the more affordable BEVs out there, because it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever to buy these stupid hybrids that is just slowing down the transition to real BEVs. They are expensive to buy and to own and are not really good for the environment, so I would like to advocate a little bit for the affordable EVs for people that are thinking of buying a hybrid, because that is just a much better deal. And no, legacy automakers are not fully in on EVs as long as they are making hybrids. Let me tell you why, and let's dive right in. So with Hyundai you can buy an ICE car, a plug-in hybrid, a fully electric, and even a hydrogen car. And I will get back to that one later, but this makes Hyundai a very good company to look at for some comparisons. So they have the Tucson hybrid that costs 310,000 Danish crowns, about $48,000. So probably much cheaper in your country, because cars here in Denmark are very expensive. But this is just to show the difference between the cars. So they also have the Hyundai Kona that cost only $38,000. So you would save $10,000 on the purchase alone. And then you will have a real BEV and save a lot of money on maintenance, depending on how much you drive, of course, but I save about $1,500 on maintenance alone every single year. You don't really save that with the hybrids, because they still have an ICE engine that need maintenance. And here the starting price is even $10,000 more for the hybrid. And if you're only using it as an EV, well then 62 kilometers is good enough for you for your daily commute. Well, the cheapest Kona has 5 times more range and can charge that 5 times more range in half the time than the stupid hybrid can charge its 62 kilometers of range. Hybrids are only for charging overnight. They take 2 or 3 hours to charge, and then you get 15 to 16 kilometers VLTP range. And if you're willing to spend $48,000 on a hybrid, you would probably have the money to spend $2,000 more. And then you can actually get something like the Ioniq 5, a legit good EV. Of course, it's the short range version, but what does that matter when we are comparing to a hybrid, right? And the Ioniq 5 cost about 320,000 Danish crowns, so about $50,000. It has 384 kilometers VLTP range and can charge 100 kilometers in just 5 minutes. So the Hyundai hybrid charged its 62 kilometers in 2 hours. But the Ioniq 5 does 100 kilometers in 5 minutes. And the hybrids can't even charge on all the chargers that are out there, because they can't use many of the very fast chargers. They can only charge with 50 kilowatt or even less. So this will just make sure you're not using your hybrid car's batteries on a road trip. You will only use it at home when you are charging overnight. But on a long road trip, you will not sit there and wait for 2 hours or 3 hours to get 62 kilometers. This is just stupid. On a road trip where you are driving on the highway with 130 kilometers an hour or something like that, it will just suck that little battery drive in minutes. And you will still use your hybrid as an ICE car anyway, but not a very efficient ICE car, because it's still a very small engine and it's carrying around 300 kilos worth of batteries and an entire electric motor and drivetrains. Hybrids are only for people that don't trust EVs are good enough, or the charging network is not good enough, and want a backup ICE engine in your car. I can't believe that anyone would buy the Tucson Hybrid instead of the Ioniq 5, a very good EV, or save $10,000 and get the Hyundai Kona, or you can get the Skoda Enyaq, also a nice electric car, or the very cheap MG ZX. So there are so many options out there now. And then you will save thousands of dollars on maintenance and gas every single year. Why would anyone go on Hyundai's website and think, well, I think I will get the Tucson Hybrids. It is expensive, it needs maintenance, and it's worst of both worlds. Sounds like a car for me. Or you can look at the Renault Captur E plug-in hybrid that costs 240,000 Danish crowns, about $38,000. It only has 50 kilometers of range, and remember, the range of the hybrids are still WLTP. So 50 kilometers WLTP in real life on a highway, well, that's gonna be gone before you're off the on-ramp. But for $38,000, you can also get, the Mazda MX-30. It only has like 200 kilometers WLTP range, but still 4 times more than the hybrid. And even though this EV charges very slowly, it will still fill up the car twice as fast as the hybrid, but get 4 times more range. So it is not that you will save money buying a hybrid. They cost the same or more than a decent electric car, and you have to pay for maintenance too with the hybrid, and you will still use gasoline and pollute the air around you, and you still have to pay for that gas as well, and that is still 40 to 50% more expensive than electricity for your EV in most countries. So why are people buying these stupid hybrids? Well, the dealerships and automakers of course like them because there is still maintenance on these cars, and for now they still count as green vehicles, so it will help the automakers to get to their targets of how many low emission cars they need to make, and they can do it by only putting in something like 13 kilowatt hours of batteries. I'm sorry, but this stupid car are only slowing down the transition to fully electric vehicles, because those batteries could have been used to make real EVs instead of making these stupid cars, and everyone is battery constrained, so it does not make any sense making these hybrids wasting valuable batteries. So as long as the old automakers are still making hybrids, they do not have the luxury to say we are all in on EVs. Well, if you are actually all in on EVs, you would not be making stupid polluting hybrids anymore, but only focus on BEVs. But the legacy automakers are still making plug-in hybrids, so sorry, no one of them are truly fully in on EVs. It is just all talk. As long as they are making hybrids, they are not fully in on EVs. Period. And someone like Hyundai that actually make good EVs are still stumbling around in all categories. They are still making fuel cell cars, and they are simply not making as fast progress as the BEV does. They will never catch up. This ship has sailed. Just look at Hyundai's Nexo fuel cell car. It cost from 550,000 Danish crowns, about $87,000. It's the most expensive car Hyundai is making. And a journalist here in Denmark did take it for a spin and also found that it's also twice as expensive to fuel the damn thing compared to an ICE car. That is still more expensive to fuel than an EV. And here in Denmark we only have about 9 hydrogen stations, when they are working of course, because most of them are only one stall, and they are quite often out of order. Even the journalist experienced that. But just look here at Great Britain. They only have 11 stations in all of Great Britain, and one has no life status information, 3 not working. And what do you do if you live in Liverpool or Edinburgh? No chance of owning a fuel cell car here, because unlike BEV, you can't fill this up at home or at a mall or at the hotel. So you have to live near one of these hydrogen stations to make this very expensive thing work. Or just look at Norway. They have 4 stations in all of the country. 1 is working, 1 is down, and 2 others has no life status information. And it's not that long ago that a hydrogen station in Norway actually exploded because, oh yeah, hydrogen is very explosive. So yes, it's not a good thing when an EV catches fire, but a hydrogen catching fire, well, that's just a bomb. I will never drive around sitting on a bomb. No thank you. And if you have to pay more, both for the car and for the fuel, and they are still very inefficient, just like an ICE car, the fuel cell car use about 30 to 40% to drive the car, and then 60 to 70% of the energy is just wasted, just like an ICE car. And hydrogen is not an energy source, you will have to make it, and that is very energy intensive, and then you just waste 70% of that energy you made. And you have to build the whole infrastructure like we have already with the gas stations all over again. Fuel cell car just make no sense. If the technology was further ahead maybe, but electric cars and the technology and the charging infrastructure is just so far ahead and speeding up much faster, fuel cells will never be a thing for the passenger car. But someone like Hyundai that makes good EVs is still making both hybrids and fuel cells and of course ICE cars. They make 4 different drivetrains. This is just very expensive and inefficient. They should just drop these hybrids and fuel cells and just focus on BEVs and earn their money on their ICE cars as long as it will last, and then make the switch fully to BEVs. So please don't buy a hybrid, you will waste your money on the worst of both worlds. You will still pollute the air in the city and it will be more expensive for you. Just get one of the affordable EVs that are already out there. And legacy automakers, stop saying you're fully in on BEVs if you're still making hybrids. You are wasting batteries. So don't come crying and saying, but we are battery constrained. Then stop making hybrids and really go all in on BEVs as you are already out saying you are. It would be nice if that was actually true. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.